Let's take you outside the home of Essop Pahad, where Nomvula Mokonyane is speaking.
We must meet soon, and this is soon.
Do you have any idea what he had wanted to talk to you about?
He was very passionate about the outcomes of the conference, and those 6 priorities, including what was presented through Comrade Mek Maharaj coming from the veterans. And that for the good of the African National Congress, we came back from the Lekgotla after the Congress. And those 6 priorities are the priorities that we now have put as priorities for this year and going towards 2024. So the issue was, let's take these priorities and put them into action. And Comrade Essop wanted to be part of that journey. And hence he said, I want to have a post-grad with all of you because it's time to work now.
DSG, one of the things that Nkobo mentioned was the fact that, there may not be another Essop Pahad, but at least you as the ANC leadership should try and emulate him. This weekend you're even having an ANC NEC, the core values that you believe you should be taking forward and the key challenges that the movement is confronted with, the end of an era?
A very important thing that one has been reflecting on, it's a leader who's able to transcend across generations. Comrade Essop will become a friend, will become a leader, so we need leaders who can relate with everybody. Secondly, somebody who valued the values of a non-racial society, something that we are very challenged on as the organization. The issues of unity. He had serious issues about the state of organization, but he was very clear that it is only through a renewed African National Congress that we can be able to take South Africa beyond where it is today. It's an end of an era. Of course, as the message that Comrade President Cyril Ramaphosa has conveyed, we know that he's out of the country, and Comrade Paul, our Deputy President, is the acting president. The very message that the void that he has left, it's going to be a difficult void to fill. We will take from those 6 priorities, and we wish every member of the NC can appreciate and understand the importance of those 6 priorities as the Pahad's wishes for the movement.
All right, Memo Nomvula Mokonyane is just going to step out of shot because the undertakers have now arrived at the home of the late Essop Pahad. They're going to collect his remains. You'll know that his body has been here since the early hours of this morning. We would have heard from Mulana Ibrahim Bam talking about how his body would have been cleaned first as a part of the Muslim burial rites, and then as we know now, he is going to now have his remains collected, bound for the West Park Cemetery. Heroes Acre is where his remains will be buried. And, important conversation coming from Nomvula Mokonyane about the kind of man Essop Pahad was, the values that he espoused. That's one of the key undercurrents that we are getting from the many people who have paid condolence to him. Perhaps one of the most, one of the moments or the remarks coming from Nkobo, the wife of the late Chris Hani, saying that we may not have another Essop Pahad, but this leadership can at least try to emulate him, and talking about how, he had things that he wanted to talk to this leadership about, trying to advise them, trying to guide them, also remind them of the values that they are meant to, uphold in the challenges that we're facing. I mean, just a few moments ago, I also spotted the SACP's Solima Paila, and as you know, that today COSATU is also having a national strike, and these are all alliance partners, the SACP, COSATU, and the ANC. And we've seen over the years how the alliance has been strained for several reasons, but in the main, the socio-economic challenges that are very well recorded in this country, and a critical election coming up. And Mokonyane mentioning that Pahad wanted to have a bosperada of sorts with the leadership, in particular herself and the Secretary General Fikile Mbalula. So these are some of the things that are coming out as well. Walter Mokoena, sportscaster, just tells you about the range as well of the late Pahad, interacting with all members of society from all walks of life, having meetings with them, every second week or every week on a Monday and a Tuesday. But also, I must mention that an alert has just gone out that acting President Paul Mashatile, in his capacity, of course, as the Commander-in-Chief, the acting Commander-in-Chief, has declared a special official funeral category 2 to mark and honor the life of the late struggle stalwart Dr. Essop Pahad. And as I've been mentioning, the cortege is due to leave at 2 o'clock. The official program to begin at around 2:30, and the acting President Paul Mashatile will be the one delivering the eulogy, because, as you know, President Cyril Ramaphosa is on a state visit binational in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The President himself also describing him as a thinker and a strategist who brought his understanding of the human condition, injustice and inequality at an international and a national level. So we'll be hearing more from those who know him as an activist, but also a father, not just to his immediate family, but even within the movement, Dudu.
When you speak of Walter Mokoena, in fact, he described what he called the G3, and Mr. Pahad was the leader or the chairperson of the G3, and also making it more personal in terms of the kind of person that he was, encouraging him to go back to school, sort of echoing the messages that we've heard from people who have been coming in there.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the fact that he's from a generation that believed in dialogue underpinning, the ways in which to deal with conflict and as a mechanism of resolution. And I'm mentioning this because we're living in a time where there's geopolitical tensions, and there's a conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and there's something that has also underpinned even our foreign policy, insofar as dialogue, trying to speak to both sides, bringing all sides to the table. And that's exactly how we also managed to usher in democracy in 1994. Essop Pahad also being at the forefront of communications for the presidency from 1999 till 2008, after his close ally Thabo Mbeki was removed from power as the president of the republic. He was one of the first to have what we now know as the Office of Persons with Disabilities, Women and Children. That's where it really began in 1999, and Pahad was leading that charge. And so when you look at the character of the man, really, that's what Walter Mokoena and others have been reflecting on. Gauteng Premier, Panyaza Lesofia as well, speaking about him marking his passing, marking the end of an era when the country is facing so many challenges, and that this crop of leaders needs to really rise to the occasion, and that they will take the baton from the likes of Pahad and those who came before him.
Thank you very much, Ziyanda Ngcobo, for that update.